The update broke my world a little bit, but we're going to make the best out of it. Welcome to a new video on the single player world, and when I opened the world in 1.21, for the first time, all of my stuff was gone. Not just from my inventory, but also from my chests, my hoppers, barrels, and so on. They were all empty. So I get to spend a couple of hours getting all my stuff together, but I won't bore you with it, because you've seen this all 100 times before, so I'll see you all in a second. It took me about a day and a bit to get all of my tools and some basic shulker boxes back. The rest of it will accumulate while we do some work in the future, so I'm not too bummed about all the stone and dirt being gone. Talking about stone and dirt, I need to dig a big hole for the next farm that's going to be in this spot. And we might just get a cheeky montage of that. The hole has been dug. I keep feeling like I forgot to dig out some things, but we can always do more. For now, I need to collect a lot of resources that are, well, now spread all over the world because everything is gone in these chunks. So a visit to the starter base for some wool and slime, to the port town for some honey, the witch farm will give us a lot of redstone, and some other bits and bobs in other places should do the trick. After a bunch of crafting, we can actually start building. We're going to start off with the positions of the crafters themselves. Did I tell you guys that this is going to be an auto crafting farm? Probably not. You'll see what it will do in about a second. So these crafters will get 2 dyes injected with some hoppers. The hoppers will need a filter, so let's get 15 of those in place. Each of these columns will make sure that there's always a certain amount of primary colors in the crafter. We can do that by taking an output from a hopper and leading it to a dispenser with the dedicated color. We'll use wool of the same color to keep track of what line is for what color. There's a lot of colors in these sentences. At the top, we just want to add some droppers, and we'll give these 6 boys, they're nice and lined up, their own little filter. That way we can have everything run through the same water system, and on the other side of the corridor, we'll just set up a storage unit. It's your basic setup, some hoppers, filters, but I do want to color these according to the rainbow, as that seems fitting for a dye farm. We can add a shulker box with the corresponding color at the end of every hopper output, and in essence, this is the entire system. I'm sure I'll be fine-tuning this over the course of the episode, but if anything major changes, I'll bring you back in. For now, we need a way to request our primary colors from our temporary storage that we set up 2 episodes ago. If you haven't seen that video, I'll link it up in the top corner so you can catch up. But before we get started, we do need to do some more digging. I told you I forgot some things, so give me like 5 seconds. Now what we'll do is add a crafters right below the chest to avoid unwanted crafting. We'll first stop the flow of items by putting a redstone block next to a hopper that will feed into the crafter. The plan is to have a piston retract the redstone block whenever the dye factory is in need of one of these colors. So we will need to run some redstone back to the factory. Again, we're going to indicate these lines with their dedicated color. This is going to help us keep things neat, but it's also going to help us in future troubleshooting, which, knowing me and my skills in redstone, will happen sooner than later. Then it's just a case of taking an output and using some slime columns to transfer the signal down. For the colors that are used to craft other colors, we will need to set up an AND gate. That way, the system will only stop requesting dyes when both the crafters and the shulkers have enough dye in them. But with all of this linked up, we're pretty much done and we're ready for a building around this little baby. The building itself will be very similar to the clay factory next door. So we will start out as I do most of the time and get a frame set up with some spruce wood. Instead of the jungle logs that we used on the other build, we will use stripped oak logs to fill in the walls over here. We'll put on a nice mud brick roof and close it up. a lot of wood and mud later, and the building is standing tall and strong. The inside though does need some work. If we go down a floor, we'll just need to extend the floor of the corridor and loop it around before adding in a staircase to the ground floor. There, we'll add a nice floor with an open space around the machine. This will allow for easy access to parts if we need to. We can connect the spruce beams up and add some runways as an access to the top parts of the farm. All the way at the bottom, we'll replace the walls and the floors with polished tuff to even it out a bit. It also allows for the redstone contraption to pop out when we're looking at it, and that's about it. We've got the entire build set up. We only need to hook up the blue line all the way back to the farmhouse. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because you've probably been redstone to death in this video, so I'll be back in a second. That's all nice and functional, and we only need to add a source of brown dye. I don't have a farm for that yet, but that will be a future episode. For now, I want to go and fill up my shulker of rockets, so let's pass by the port town for some sugarcane and the witch farm for some gunpowder. And since we're here, we can actually load some new chunks. I deleted everything, a couple of chunks beyond the farm, so we're pretty close to the new world border. Okay, let's land here. I looked up some stuff on the Trow Ruins or Chambers or whatever they're called, and they seem to spawn between -40 and -20. But another line states that most of the rooms will spawn above -20. So my horrible calculations say that mining at -20 will give me the best chance of finding one.
Hours later.
Never mind. I've been down here for so long, and this trip has become more of a diamond mining session than an actual chamber run. So I'm gonna go back to town and meet back up with you guys. I told you this was a good diamond run. A stack and some more is a good haul. But I'm gonna end the video right here because I'm out of time. The other updates, features will be for the next episode. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!